friends, welcome back. Good to see you again. And look, it hasn't been 4 years since my last video, so that's good. Sorry, my dogs are visiting me, so they might distract me throughout the video, but if they come over close enough, maybe I'll show them to you. I'm in my little office that I'm working on, and I have to keep the door open because if I don't, it will be 1,000 degrees in here, and I don't want to put a fan on because it'll be too loud. So we're just going to work with what we got, and eventually this room will be set up and it'll look really cool and I can show it to you guys, but for right now we are a work in progress. So today's video actually was going to be completely different. I got a bunch of really cool stuff from Nintendo's online store and it came in the mail today. I had pre-ordered it, so I want to show all of that to you. But then I opened up Reddit. Hi, Kona. But then I opened up Reddit and the first thing I see is Switch leaks. So I wanted to go through some of those leaks with you guys today. I don't know if they're real. I don't know if this is what the Switch 2 is going to be, but I thought that it might be fun to, just go through, talk about them, look at some of the pictures. So what I'm going to do, I have stuff pulled up on my iPad here, so I will be looking at that, and then I will put the photos that we're talking about on the screen so that you can see them as I talk about it. At least I hope I can do that. We'll see how basic my editing skills are, but I'm sure we'll figure it out and it'll be fun. So let's go. All right, so first thing, I wanted to go through some of the details that we have. So this is in our Gaming Leaks and Rumors, and I didn't screenshot the user's name, so I'll try to find it again and put it on the screen just to give them credit for this. But there was, I guess, some leaks from a Chinese factory of the Switch 2 prototype. Actually, hang on. I have my Red Bull next to me and I didn't open it and I'm gonna need it, so we're just gonna... I should have done that close to the camera so it was like ASMR, but I'm not that clever, I guess. So bottoms up, but okay. So what we have here are some leaks from, again, some Chinese factory that I guess are making the Switch, and it's a bunch of like prototype photos and then just some like shell photos and some different specs. So on this list, it says that what will be included in the box, if I'm reading this correctly, is the game console itself, left Joy-Con controller, right Joy-Con controller, and a dock. So no Joy-Con grip. It doesn't specify, but then it also doesn't specify like an HDMI cable, or does it? No. It doesn't specify an HDMI cable or a power supply, so it's possible that those things are also going to be included. Well, probable, I would think those things would be included unless Nintendo is going to do the whole thing like they did with the new 3DS, where they said, you know what, you guys probably have our proprietary charger at home, so we're not going to include it. What? They were like, you are only buying a new 3DS because you already had a 3DS, and you definitely still have your charger from that 3DS that you already had. There's no chance anything happened to it, or you would like to have a backup, or maybe you never had a 3DS before and you don't have the charger. So that was just, I remember just being frustrated with that decision, because like, how do you assume that your proprietary charger is already owned? Like, what if, a parent bought this for their kid, it was the only one on the shelf and they'd never had a 3DS before, and then the kid, goes and plays through it, it dies, and they realize I have no way to charge this thing, and it's not a universal cable. So anyway, tangent aside, I'm assuming that a USB-C power supply will be included. So let's see, there's a bunch of detailed configurations here. I don't know a lot of what I'm looking at here because I'll be honest, specs and things like that are not my forte. But I'll put this screenshot on the screen so you can at least see, and if they are your forte, maybe you can explain down below what it is that we're looking at here. So, and there's stuff about the memory model, just a bunch of numbers, says 6GX2 dual channel. I don't know what this means. Flash memory model, says 256 gigabytes. And I always think of saying gigabytes instead of gigabytes, and I forget where that's from, but it's a reference to something. If anybody knows, please tell me. But I just, like, the first time I see GB, I always read it as gigabytes. So anyway, 256 gigabytes, UFS 3.1, manufactured by Kaixia. I'm sure I butchered that. And then it says 2100 MB/s, which I'm guessing is like megabytes per second. I don't know what that means in relation to anything. I don't know what all of that is for the first Switch, but 256 gigabytes feels, you know, generous. So I wonder if they're going to really be pushing, you know, downloaded games this generation. We'll see. Audio chip model, Ruiwoo, and then a bunch of letters and numbers. Again, no idea what that is. NFC reader model, NXP IPN, blah, blah, blah. So that means we're still going to have an NFC reader. So Amiibo maybe are still going to be a thing, which would be good. I'm still waiting for them to announce a Zelda Amiibo for Echoes of Wisdom that's coming out next Friday. I don't know why they haven't. I've seen that they are kind of advertising or redoing another batch of the Link Amiibo from Link's Awakening, which is in the same art style. So where's our cute little Zelda one? I want a little Zelda one in that design style, please, Nintendo. But I also saw that they are making more of the Zelda Wind Waker, I think the Zelda Wind Waker Amiibo. I saw, like, on Best Buy's website and stuff, you can pre-order it, and then Nintendo's website, I think they have stock, at least the UK website, when I was looking around, they have stock there. So, interesting that they wouldn't create a Zelda Amiibo to go with the game, and they would just create the other batch. So I don't really know. I feel like Amiibo have just been so random. They did a batch with Tears of the Kingdom, but I haven't seen anything about a Zelda Amiibo for the Zelda game that you actually play as Zelda. So fingers crossed they come out with it. That would be nice, but we'll see. I don't know about Amiibo functionality in that game, but I would imagine they do something because they're re-releasing the Zelda Wind Waker Amiibo, but I don't know. Okay, so what else is on here? Built-in microphone, dual cooling fans, video signal conversion, DisplayPort to HDMI, must be chip model, I don't know what that means. Some ports, HDMI 2.1, network chip model, base has a network cable interface, so it's a gigabit Ethernet chip. So assuming that the dock has an Ethernet cable port, like the OLED model, added so that you can just directly wire up your Switch to your router. So that's some of the random details that were leaked. Again, I'll put, you know, this is on screen so you can see what these things mean, what they mean to you. If you know what it means based on the first Switch, I don't. Let's see. Oh, there were a couple of other things here. So microcontroller chip model, video game console protective case model made of plastic. So I'm assuming that's the, like, actual, I have my Switch here, the actual, like, Switch that holds the screen and all of the components and things. And then speakers, Musebox L and Musebox R, 2-channel stereo. So, interesting. Then there's this other screenshot that has more details. Oh, this actually, I think, kind of does what I was talking about, how it's comparing things to the other Switch, to the old Switch, and or other consoles out there as well. So in handheld mode, it looks like the performance is going to be right above a PS4, and then docked, it's going to be between a PS4 Pro and Xbox Series X. So that is a significant improvement from what we have with the original Switch, which is great. The RAM is slower than a PS5 and Xbox Series X or S in the speed department, but more capacity than the Xbox Series S. Should have 10.5 to 11 gigabytes of RAM. So that would be good. Available going by the Switch One's RAM allotment for its operating system. Storage, 3.1's max speed should be a hair under Xbox Series X. 2.1 gigabytes per second versus 2.4 gigabytes per second. Still plenty fast, even if not maxed out. Lines up with the Digital Foundry and Nate Drake heard about decompression techniques and fast load times of the Breath of the Wild tech demo, respectively, for each source. I'm going to find who wrote this comment because I'm just reading off what they said, and that's basically, I'm like stealing their hard work. So I'll find their name, their Reddit username, and make sure that it's displayed here because I'm using my phone to record, so I don't have my Reddit synced up to my iPad, which is silly, but whatever. So what else? It says, not only is the Switch 2 ARM-based rather than times 86, like the systems compared, it's also NVIDIA versus AMD. There are plenty of factors at play to where it's not an apples to apples comparison. Plus, the native tensor cores of the Switch 2 will allow for DLSS, letting the system punch above its weight and decrease the size of the gap between it and the Xbox Series S. Nintendo could throttle down the SoC to the floor, but not sure it'll be a doomsday scenario since this is a custom chip to begin with. From the Era user Neoxin, I don't know if that's who it is, but then they link a source here on a thread about resetera.com, some Switch 2 threads. So those are some of the details that have been leaked. Now, there's some pictures as well. So we'll go through the pictures now in a second, but I think what people are saying is if this is all true, then Nintendo is going to announce or release the trailer for this system like today, the 18th. No, what's today? Is today the 18th or the 19th? I did this on Monday too. I'm pretty sure today's the 18th and tomorrow is the 19th. So people are saying, oh my gosh, this is what we've been saying Nintendo should get ahead of. They should announce a system before leaks start happening and it gets announced for them. So if this is all true, people are thinking, wow, this thing is going to get announced today because Nintendo isn't going to want more to be leaked before they get to actually reveal the system. So super exciting. I'm really excited. I don't need this Red Bull, I think, because I'm like all hopped up on adrenaline, but at the same time, I feel like I do. So another sip. All right, let's look at these photos. So we're going to start out, hopefully, I'm going to try to have some rhyme or reason. Actually, I'm going to have no rhyme or reason too. The order that we go through, I'm just going to go in the order that I have them saved on my iPad. So that way, when I link it up to the my voice, it's a little bit easier. So here we go. Let's see. First photo is a photo of what appears to be the new Joy-Cons. So it is the top of the Joy-Cons, I guess you would say, when they're on their side. And they have, hold on, let me just pull my Joy-Con out of my Switch here to compare. So on the old Joy-Con, the SR and SL buttons are teeny, right? They're teensy tiny, which is why we need the little Joy-Con straps that you slide in. I don't have any handy there somewhere, but you know what I'm talking about, to make the buttons actual buttons so that you can use one controller in horizontal mode and be able to play. Now you can play without those, but it's much more difficult because it's hard to hit these little buttons. So the first thing I noticed on this picture is those buttons actually look like buttons. So they are, gosh, maybe 3 times as long and twice as wide, or 1.5 times as wide as what's on the Joy-Con I'm holding in my hand. They also have these weird things in the middle. Now, they're little, like, they look almost like a DS cartridge. So I'm wondering if that's how the magnets, if that's magnets and that's how the Joy-Con is going to attach to the Switch. There's these 2 little bars on either end. So one little circle thing and then a little square guy on the top. One looks like it might be like the infrared kind of sensor that's on the bottom of the right Joy-Con, but it's hard to tell in this photo. And then on the very top, there's these little, like little tiny buttons. It's almost like the button that's on the back of the Joy-Con. One looks like a button, the other, I don't know if it's just an incomplete version of the shell or if it's meant to be that way. And then maybe the Joy-Cons, like, instead of having a grip, maybe the Joy-Cons, they kind of like snap together like this, and then you play it. I mean, it's not very comfortable, is it? But maybe that's how it works. They would snap together, and that's something to make them snap. I don't know, I'm guessing, and you're hearing my dog bark. So interesting. Now on the back of the Joy-Con, there is a little bump out, and I'm trying to think. So if I'm holding the Joy-Con, I wonder if that is where, let's see. It's kind of like the back of my current Joy-Con that has the like ZL and RL button, or ZL and ZR, RL, and the ZL and ZR buttons. So I wonder if that is supposed to hold those, or I wonder if it's going to make the Joy-Cons a little bit more ergonomic, and I don't know. And then down at the very bottom, there's another little circle, but I don't know what that would do. I'm not a tech expert, so there's probably people that have already like figured out all of this, and I haven't read enough about it yet. So I'm literally like, I saw these pictures, I screenshotted them, I came upstairs, and I sat down to record this video because I just wanted to get it out. So I've not done my research, admittedly. But okay, let's look at the next picture. So this looks like a mock-up of the left Joy-Con, and it looks exactly like the current left Joy-Con. And the only difference, and it might just be this angle, is the top looks like it's a little less severe of a curve, and maybe the outside of the Joy-Cons curve down a little bit more. The main difference is the rail. You can see those bigger buttons. It definitely sticks out a lot more than the old Joy-Con, but everything else looks the same. The buttons, the screenshot button, minus at the top, the joystick, yeah. All right, let's move to the next one, which is the right Joy-Con, and this one looks a little bit different. So we still have the plus sign at the top, the 4 buttons, the joystick in the same spot. Then you have the home button, and then there's a new button, it looks like, underneath. I don't know what that might be, but it's not on the old Joy-Con. Again, you can see that the rail is still there, and then the SL and SR buttons are bigger, and they are protruding a lot more. So interesting. Joy-Cons look fairly similar. Maybe in this picture, it almost looks like they're more narrow at the bottom and wider at the top, but it might just be the angle of the photo. Okay, next picture. So what do we have here? This looks like the old Switch versus the OLED Switch. So I don't really know why this is included. Let's see, I have my OLED Switch here, and literally that's literally what it looks like. It just looks like the OLED Switch on the top and the original Switch on the bottom. So I don't know if this is meant to be included with this or what, but that's what it feels like I'm looking at. So I don't really know about that. That's odd. Next picture is the front of those screens. So, let's see. The top one, again, it just looks like the OLED Switch. Chargers on the bottom. Rails are on the side for the Joy-Con. The bottom picture, though, looks a little bit different than the original Switch. It looks like the bezels are smaller on that. So that's interesting. I wonder what that could be. I wonder if this is just mock-ups of the OLED Switch concept versus the original Switch, or if this is something else. Maybe the 2 SKUs are 2 different sizes of the Switch, but that would be odd to me. I feel like that's strange, considering the first picture of the back, I'm looking at the kickstand placement, and it just looks like an original Switch 1 versus an OLED Switch 1 to me. So don't really know why those photos are there.
Hi, editing me here. I was just looking at these photos as I'm obviously editing this video, and I can see the difference now. So the top screen here has, instead of having rails on the side to slide in the Joy-Cons, it looks like you probably like snap them in there. And the bottom picture, it looks like it has the rails where you can slide in the Joy-Con to connect them to the Switch. So the top image, I'm guessing, is the Switch 2 and has maybe the magnets to snap the Joy-Con onto the Switch. So maybe it's going to be called the Nintendo Snap.
And again, looks just like the OLED Switch, so I'm feeling like this is just OLED Switch prototype photos, which is kind of strange.
Again, editing me here, and if this is the top of the device, which it sure looks like it looks like that is a USB-C port on the top of the Switch. So I'm not sure. I think I was looking at the bottom of my Switch thinking, oh, that's just the bottom of the Switch. But if it's the top of the Switch, then that looks like a USB-C on the top. But if it is the bottom, then it does look like the same thing. But it's just hard to tell because if I flip my Switch over, like the Joy-Cons look the same, like either direction. So yeah, it could be a USB-C port on the top of the Switch.
And then we have the back of the console with the Joy-Cons attached, and the Joy-Cons look a little bit different here. Now, interesting. The back, let me put my Joy-Cons back on. And the back of the OLED Switch has same kickstand, Joy-Cons, which in this photo look like they're even on the top and bottom, so it must have just been that angle. But then the actual ZR and ZL buttons are a little bit more bumped out, so I can see that there's still the regular Z and R, looks like they're in the same spot. The ZL and ZR buttons are still there, and then there's these other buttons on the inside. So I wonder if that's how you detach the Joy-Con now, because the only other buttons on the old Joy-Con are on the back of the actual unit, whereas these buttons in this picture are on the sides of the casing where the ZR and ZL buttons are housed. So I wonder if that's just how you take it off, which that would actually, it would make more sense. I think it would be a little bit more intuitive that they're this way on the side when you pull them off instead of in the back and pulling them off. But if they're magnets, then you wouldn't need to slide it up anyway. So I don't know, this is very strange. I'm very confused. I'll probably get done filming this video, go back on Reddit and see a bunch of people that are either debunking this or explaining it more. But figured, again, I'm just excited about the Switch 2. I think we all are, and so we may as well be excited together and go through all of the little leaks and rumors and just have fun, because once the console's announced, we can still speculate because I'm sure they won't show everything, but there will be fewer rumors because we'll know what it looks like. And then of course we're just getting hyped for release and games and things like that, but it's just a different thing. I don't know. It's just Nintendo's so secretive about their consoles that although it's frustrating because I'm like, I just want to know, it's also a little bit fun to speculate and to talk about. So I'm really excited. Now let's move on to this next screenshot. So this one is, it appears to be the casing of the new Switch. So, hi Kona, hello. Oh, do you wanna say hi? Oh, Kona wants to say hi. Here's Kona. Oh, thank you for that little kiss. I love you. So she just came to say hi. Oh, I love you. All right, go back. Anyway, she's very excited about the Switch 2 as well, aren't you? Aren't you excited? Okay. So she just came in. She's like, "Oh, got to the good stuff, the actual casing, yay!" So this looks different than the Switch I have sitting in front of me. Now, of course, we don't see all of the pieces here, but what looks different in the back, the main actual console, it looks more rounded on the top and bottom. So that is, yeah, I'm looking at my current Switch versus this one. The edges just look more rounded down in the corners. Let's see, I'm sure they will place the screen and then this top section on it. So it's hard to see how big the screen might be. Now, I think what's probably more interesting in this photo to me, because I could not tell you what any of these little electronics are in here other than it looks like there's a pretty big spot for a battery. The game cartridge slot looks like it's on the bottom of this photo. If I had to guess, that's probably what that spot is for. And then it looks like the charger might be on the top. If this is the, you know, we're looking at this with the top at the top and the bottom at the bottom. I'm just looking in the middle of the Switch at the very top. There's that little tiny kind of cutout in the chips that could potentially be for a USB-C. I don't know how electronics look on the inside with chargers and stuff, so you might be like, you are stupid. The charger obviously goes over here, over there. Especially because the battery's on the left there. I don't know really how the battery gets charged, obviously, other than there's that little like cutout in the top of the casing, so I'd imagine it's connected somehow like that. But anyway, if this is the correct direction, it looks like we might be charging the Switch from the top, which was one of the things that I had said might happen. And then the game looks like it might actually go in the bottom right. And that slot looks bigger than the original Switch. So let me pull out, I think I have a game in here. In this Switch, the cartridge goes in the top right. And obviously it's like the tiniest little cartridge you've ever seen in your entire life. My Splatoon 3 was in there from playing the Splat test this weekend. So that, to me, I'm like lining this up, that cartridge looks a lot bigger. It looks like it takes up a lot more space than this cartridge does on my OLED Switch. So I wonder if the cartridges for Switch 2 games are going to be bigger than the current Switch games. Sorry, another dog just came to visit. Oh, come here. This is Leo. Say hi, Leo. Oh, my boy. Do you want to sit with me while we film the rest of the video? Okay, so that's interesting. Now, there's been, of course, a lot of talk about how the Switch 2 needs to be backwards compatible, so I wonder how that's going to work if the cartridges are bigger, if there will be a separate slot, or if this slot will be able to read both games. I don't know. Now, the Joy-Con casings are interesting, and that's what makes me, one of the reasons why this feels like it's the new version of the Switch is because those Joy-Con casings are different than what we currently have. Very, very similar. Top and bottom, the angles look much less severe, I guess. So in the old Switch Joy-Cons, it's not even the old Switch yet. It's the current Switch. In the current Switch model, the Joy-Cons, again, that top angle is a little bit more like at 90 degrees than what this image looks like. But the left Joy-Con here, even the shape, it looks like it's a little bit different than the right Joy-Con that's shown at the top. So I wonder if that's just my mind playing tricks on me because of the angles. It might be, because as I'm looking at this image and I'm holding the Joy-Con horizontal, they actually look very similar. The angle might be slightly different, but not as different as it looks in the left Joy-Con in this image. Now, what is different, again, is that rail. So there's a big kind of jut out from each Joy-Con, and you can see there's those 4 LED light spots actually that are on the inside of the current Joy-Con. So at the top where the rail would go, that says, you know, it's player 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are actually on the front of the Joy-Con. So the rail sticks out enough that you can see those 4 lights from the front. Now, the right Joy-Con, it has those 2 button slots again, which we only have 1 button slot on the current Joy-Con models. So that is a little bit different. Other than that, it looks very, very similar. So those top buttons, again, the SL and SR buttons, those are much bigger. So I wonder if these will not come with rail straps. What are they? Rail sliders? What do you guys call those things? I call them the Joy-Con straps, but I don't know what they're actually called. But it looks like you won't need those with these, possibly, because the rail by nature is standing out so much more, it's so much higher, and then the buttons are so much bigger. So I wonder if that's true. And then again, it almost looks like they should just snap together then, and you have your controller instead of having to put them into a grip. Interesting. Next photo is a close-up of the back of the left Joy-Con. So again, we can see those bigger buttons, and then that button on the side at the top, it definitely sticks out more, and then that is a really big button. So I wonder what that is. I wonder if it's just to remove the Joy-Cons from the console or what. So that's the last photo in this batch, and there might be more leaked later. I'll keep an eye out, and then I can always just jump back up here and film another video if more comes out. But that's what we have so far. So I am really excited to learn more. I'm wondering, do you guys think that Nintendo is going to release the launch video of the Switch today? Do you think that this is real? Do you think these photos are fake? Do you think they're real? What do these numbers and letters mean, if anybody can translate? Are you excited? I don't know. I'm really excited. If you have a guess for what that extra button on the right Joy-Con does down at the bottom, please leave a comment below. I'm really curious what you guys think it might be. But anyway, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe, or throw a comment down below, hang out. I'm thinking about making a Discord so that we can chat about stuff, but I have to figure that out because I have only recently, believe it or not, joined Discord, and it was to communicate with my D&D group. So you would think I would be on top of this stuff, but I'm just not. So anyway, subscribe to my channel if you think I'm awesome, because I think you're awesome, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!